Hey, this is Asha. Welcome to another episode here on Backstage Income. And today I want to share with you some inside stuff. And we'll take a look at making YouTube thumbnails and how really it works with my team. And what I typically do if we go ahead and look down here on screen is I go ahead and create the initial structure, blueprint, framework, and then the team or your assistants or your helpers, your virtual team should help you out with that. But you got to create the blueprints. You got to create the initial foundation. And this is what I do is I make sure all of these kind of look the way I want them to look. And then now we can go ahead and use these for our thumbnails. And I can change these up, every couple months or every 6 months, you might change these things up. But really for our YouTube thumbnails, you can see right here, as we go ahead and create YouTube thumbnails, this is good to go ahead and change it out. Now, you'll watch this video later on in the future after it's created, so it'll give you, I guess you'll see how these thumbnails will look very soon. But really, there's a lot of variations, and all these elements kind of look the same. So we're linking one data to the next, meaning, let's say I take this text, and I want to go ahead and change this, and I'll change it to let's say from email to Pinterest. So I'll save it, and now you'll see that gets changed everywhere, right? Even on the ones that are rotated over here, it gets changed because the rotation happens later on that group. So these are smart channels, smart layers, and I have a few variations here. And I have some variations that are, that have basically this beware that you could use scam, awesome, cool, fantastic. Usually like beware, attention getting words. Could be, here I have kind of black and white versions here, which the colors can be changed from like red to blue or something else, but they're black and white mostly. Here we have kind of neon-y, but also dark backgrounds, or one colored one. Here we have kind of normal colors, and some of these in the background they use a photo, and others will use a texture. So you can see the difference between these two. This one is a photo, this one is a texture, and all these layers can be changed. So for example, if you want, let's say, an income thing here and an arrow, there's a layer, smart layers, that basically here we have arrows. So instead of the arrows, if you like that one, you change it to the face, and now you got a face, and you got a whole different view. If you want it instead of green, well, here's our green layer, right? So we double click the adjustment layer, so we go from green, and I'll change it to maybe an orange up here. Darker orange if I want. If I don't want it to see through as much, you can see this one's at 83. I'll go ahead and tweak it. Usually anything above 80 is pretty good. You can see how now I can just put some of these things back. I could put a texture in there. I could put like, some other layers in there. There's the face. Here's the arrows and stuff. And now you got a whole different thumbnail design. I have some things that are on the left side, and I have the right side assets, and some have dark text and others have light text. Some have a diagonal cut, others have a rounded cut, again, left or right. Some have kind of a rectangle behind some text. Others have kind of an outline border, which the borders here you can adjust. So let's say you need to do something a little longer, or you just want kind of a top border, bottom border, kind of like that. You could do something along those lines. If you need to center it, you got to center the text. Here's kind of a other different kind of cut through. Oh, this one we're doing the adjustment here. So we have to, let's say we do something like this. And you can see, you can tweak it kind of to your needs and liking. And here's kind of also, if you're just doing like a single text right there, you could do something simple like that. And again, all these are adjusted based on your needs or colors. So basically what we want to do is I want to do a couple of quick tests with this to make sure my team can go ahead and use this properly and it works okay. So I'll do a couple of thumbnails. I already did one real quick. I did this one, and just to show you what that looks like, I'll pop it out right here. This is what it looks like. Just a quick little screenshot. Automate your email marketing, passive income on autopilot. So I did that little thumbnail, but of course there's many more to do, and that just changes things up from the ones we've kind of been doing, which have been very similar. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and skip around here. Let's say 10 awesome lead magnets you can create fast. So this could be a good one here to do, and that way you can see how things really work. So I want to go ahead and use one of these maybe. And what I want to do first, I always like to start with the text. So we'll go ahead and it doesn't matter which layer I find the text in, but let's say here. So I'll go ahead and go figure out what I really want to do. 10 awesome email lead magnets you can create fast. Okay. First I'll just write it out real quick. 10 awesome lead. And it's got to go new line. I split them up so that way you could tweak them easily. Magnets you can. We'll transform this, Control T, or just change the size. Magnets you can. And then we'll go ahead here, create fast. So this is kind of what we want to work with. I think what I can do is hide this bottom layer, but remember some of these, they're duplicated. So if I actually hide this bottom part, it'll be hiding, you'll see here in a second, because some of these layers are duplicated. So you can see on templates like this, that'll be missing. On other templates, maybe more like this, it'll be fine. So what I want to do is go ahead and make tweaks to kind of pick a template that works for my needs, right? So here I could do something, this one, I could do this one, I could do this one, 10 you can create fast. I might use one of these right here. That might be the one to go with. All right, so took a little breather here. So now we want to figure out which one we want to use. I think ideally it's going to be one of these two. So I'm going to go ahead and change this from create fast. I'm going to pop out this one and minimize that. I'll go ahead and look up this beware. I'm going to change this to, it could be fast or create fast, depending on how much space you have. So let's say I write fast, and I'll just kind of center it. So now, let me think here. You can create fast. Let's see how this will look. That might work, that you can create fast. And then what I'll do is I'll take this one. This is the background for that. I have to make it bigger, so all I'll do is drag this. And you can see it rotates it just fine. So now the other thing you could do is, okay, this beware, if it needs to be moved right, just move it right. And now you can see how that kind of works. It's pretty cool with these layers, smart layers. So now I can just take this whole beware part, move it down, and you can see I got a little more space. And now I can go back to that initial layer. There's that content, 10 awesome lead magnets you can. And now I have a little more space here, 10 awesome lead magnets. And I don't need awesome. It's kind of an irrelevant word, but it is fancy, I guess. 10 lead magnets. We'll just say, duplicate this real quick. Now we have you can. Now we have magnets. I can make this bigger. Lead magnets. The you can be smaller. Here. Move this around a bit. Now, okay. Let's see. we need to make this bigger at all, like that. And now let's save it. Let's see how this looks. Okay, 10 lead magnets, you can, and then you can see create fast. Looks pretty good overall. I do want to move some of these down and larger, so the you can go here. This can go a little lower, and this, now we have it. Let's see if I can just make it bigger here. Okay, and here's kind of the issue. That's the break point right there on that layer. So you have to stay within that confinement to be able to make it work. Or the other approach is to go ahead and change the masking. So you'll see there, I went ahead and tightened it up, but what I can do is change the masking a little bit on this one specific, not everywhere. And that way it, it'll work at least with this one. So it's all layer specific. So here, and actually because it is the, see, we're not even using that second layer. I could almost remove it, but here I'll open up this mask, and you can see how we now can see that layer pretty good. Just make sure this red, there we go, better aligned. Okay, so here we have that. There we go. Now we need to align this one with the text. I can move it down because I'm not worried about the masking part of it anymore. There we go. And I don't need these arrows here. So now what you could do, okay, do I want to use a photo? Because I could use a photo here. Or I could go ahead and change it to kind of a icon or something. So here's the photos, but let's say, hey, I want to change it to an icon. I could go ahead and do that. And now you'll see what'll happen is that I have an icon. And sometimes this is actually more beneficial to use an icon than your face, just depending on what you're trying to do. So we know that this one is for email lead magnets. So I could actually leave this exact icon on there. Normally I want to swap one out. There's websites like freepix.com or one of the other ones that we have or a membership on. And yeah, in this case, just for quickness, I'll go ahead and save this and it should be good to go. You could also change, let's say, the luminosity, something like that if you need to change the color. I could also change, let's say, the color of this. Right now it's red. You can see just swapping things out. There's a background image, so we could change that background image. If I want to change it to, let's say, green or blue, you know, you could change it like this. The other approach is if you want to do a gradient. This is also can be nice, but you got to be very careful with gradients. Know what you're doing and the color schemes that you're playing with. So let's say I go with kind of a bluish right here, and then I can do kind of a little bit of a change up angle like there. That might be nice, right? You got a kind of an email thing here. Let me just make sure this email thing is on top. Yep, looks good. And yeah, and of course if you want to change, let's say this beware, the stroke, well, I could change the stroke to more of a blue tone. If you want to do that, you can do it more of a white tone, but in this case black's fine. Same thing with the letters, you could change them up, but this is the one we're really looking for. Of course, there's now you have a lot of other thumbnails here that you can see how they're being created, but because we were working on this one, that's the one we're exporting. So I want to go ahead and do the export on this one. I'll just do a quick little privacy setting because sometimes the desktop pops up a lot of stuff. So just quick export on the JPEG. I'm going to export it on the recycle bin here. Okay, so I went ahead and exported it. It's going to export a lot of stuff, and of course I'll delete all the other ones. I'll keep the one that I need. And now what I need to do is just kind of go back to the YouTube studio here. Let's see here, it pops up. For some reason the channel's not popping up. Let me see if I could go ahead and bring it back. Go back to the studio. The videos, this one is 10 lead magnets you can create, so that'll be this one. So I'll go ahead and add that thumbnail. That one I'm gonna go ahead and rename it first, actually. So I'll just make sure it's renamed in my server here. Move it over there. Go ahead and pick it up over here. Save it. I'm also adding things to Airtable. We kind of use a content management system as Airtable just for these things. And then what I'll do is I'll also drag and drop here to know in case somebody needs to get it for social media or something, you can just download it real quick. So it's a good convenient way, and it shows us, hey, which videos are done, which YouTube keywords need to be done. But anyway, that thumbnail now is good to go. So we are done with that one. So you can see we got this one, we got this one. Let's try another one here. Maybe, let's say, how to build a full-time income from your writing. Okay. So this one will change out just to play with something a little bit different. Again, I'm going to start out with kind of the text. I have to think which one I want to use mostly. Okay, so either way, we're going to start with the text. And it'll be build a full-time, say, income, and then here it might be writing ebooks, and the on autopilot we don't need. So build a full-time income. I don't need the full thing, I just need full-time income maybe. Make it big, shrink it here, put that down here, save it. Let's just see where we get to here on this level. So you can see, okay, now which one do I want to use is the question. Maybe something ebook related here would be good. I'll go ahead and change one of the pictures. Again, we don't need it perfect. Maybe I'll change it to this one. So let's see, where's our photo? Here. There's the photo. Find it in here. There's the photo. Paste that in there. Make it a little bigger. Save. It'll change it everywhere else. You can see there's our ebook thing. Okay, so now I kind of want to recenter this. Probably want to do this, something more like that. Maybe even lower. Right here. Probably make this a little bigger. Now let's see how this will start to look. I'm just doing a couple tests. Full-time income writing ebooks. Which one will look pretty good for us? I think it's probably not going to be this one, because that one is more like beware, right? You could do something more like this and just hide one of these images. You could do something more like this. I like more like a yellow one for ebooks, but again, you could change it up however you want. You could do something more centered. Let's say we do something more centered. And the way that I would center this is go ahead and here, this. So I'll just center this out. You can't center it just here perfectly because it centers it based on the whole thing. So really I'll just center it based on my eye like this. Give it a little extra space. And then again, we'll recenter the other one in a little bit. But really, if you want to look at it, is it even? It's not perfectly even. So here, you can see I've centered it, and now what I can do is go ahead and start tweaking this. This could be something more like one of these, or one of these up here. Full-time income writing ebooks. Let's say this one. I'm going to go ahead and hide the arrow. I don't need the arrow. I might use a screenshot instead of the face shot. I don't need that. So I'll go ahead and change this text, just hitting this color right here. Yellow would be nice, but it's tough to see. So I'm going to go with kind of an orange, because yellow on white is tough. So I'll change this as well. Oh, that's that one, and this is this one. Which one? This one's the top one. So we'll actually just move this up. Color overlay. Again, I might make this one orange or yellow. And actually, what might be better, still left align, because if I got a screenshot here, I could put an arrow there. You know, centering things is usually if you don't have other elements, but I want to put that other element in there. So let's actually go back to that. Full-time income. There we go. Writing ebooks. I'm going to go ahead and put that other element there. And I want this content, actually, we're going to bring it right back. Left align it. There we go. Let's see how this will look. Because now I can have that screenshot. I want a little more space there. Of course, you could just move that layer there. So I moved it here. These you just want alignment, or what I could do is just take this one and kind of move the text as well. The problem with that is then you're moving it always in the future. So I always like to play with kind of our content piece here. And normally I would do this on a different monitor. But in this case, since we're recording a video, here, full-time income, writing ebooks. There we go. I could do writing ebooks on another line. Get rid of the ebooks. Get rid of the writing on the other layer. Now I can make ebooks bigger to stand out. Makes it a little different, filling up the space a little bit. And of course, the issue here is there's our cutoff point. So what I need to do is just kind of move this one. This is my bottom layer. Just move this up. I can make full-time income a little bigger. And full-time a little smaller. People love the trigger words of full-time income. There we go. Now maybe a little bit higher. Save it. We'll make the change. Go up a little more. It's starting to come together, as you can see, because I'm focused on this thumbnail, even though this one actually could look okay too. So you could see I could work with this one. I'll go with the white one on this case. I'll move this here. I'll pop in an arrow over here. I can move the arrow on its own. This is selecting the group. We'll just do the layer. Just like that. If I move it on its own, remember I'm moving the whole thing now though. So just be careful. But this could work out right there. Otherwise, you could select this, and you can see, because this arrow should be to the right. So if you're actually aligning it, it should be kind of like this. And now, if you need to move it, you move it more like this, because now you can see more of that arrow. So it's interesting how these dynamics work within smart layers. You're kind of working a double thing, multiple layers and multiple movements dynamically. So there you can see how now that arrow gets reflected there. So again, I'll move it, boom, there we go. Red is fine. That layer is being adjusted on that exact one. I might even, you could do orange, you can see, or even black might be interesting. You know, sometimes if you do that, you could do kind of like a white outer glow, just to kind of pinpoint that arrow a little more. You know, but red always stands out. So red is good. Anything other wacky colors as well that's different from that original color, like red, pink, is also attention getting. Orange is good, but it'll match a little more. I'm gonna go ahead with red in this case. And yeah, so now what I'll go ahead and do is, again, file, export, and again, do a little quick privacy thing. I'm going to export all these out. I'll select that folder. And now I have a lot of thumbnails actually that were made. I think what we can do is pull that thumbnail. I'll go ahead and bring this back. See, full-time income from your writing. I'll just take this. I'm going to go ahead and rename my other thumbnail. And then I'll lowercase everything. Make sure no spaces are there. Move it over. And now I'll actually upload a new one. So we'll edit this. Full-time income. And you can see that thumbnail was fine, but it was, you know, this one has kind of like proof of income. So it's a little bit more there. And you can see, boom, there's that thumbnail there. I'll also do the same thing and replace one of these. So if we look at, let's see if this one was here or in the 2018, I might need to go ahead and go to our other year in 2018 when this video was created. Just make that change and I'm kind of good to go. So I think this is working out fairly well for the thumbnails and how it's working. One of the things that you want to always do and be careful of is watch your smart layers as you work with these. But as you can see now, you can tweak the elements, move the elements a little bit, and you can say, okay, I want this one, I want that one. That one looks like it'll be okay. If you want more elements, like an icon here, then you've got to kind of align things a little left or right. Even in these situations here, the icon would look nice on the left side, and you can just align your text here on the right. You know, if you need to adjust the box, then here's the box right here. So you just adjust this real quick, because most of these things are already done, right? So I would just adjust the box, kind of maybe adjust the box, move all these up. You know, little things like that is really what you're doing, and the templates help that. And even though I'm focused on this one at this time, at other times you could be focused on another one. And you know the core, the basic, the way that the templates are set up. And once you know that, the rest is easy. Hide, unhide layers, and creating thumbnails, changing some colors, and you're pretty much good to go. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining me in another Inside Day. You can see I did a couple tests. I'll probably do 1 or 2 more tests here off screen, off video, and just make sure everything's working good, well. And if it is, then the rest of the team will handle the thumbnails from now on for a little bit until we revisit this, if we need to make any tweaks, adjustments, or changes. So thanks for sticking with me. Be sure to get on the newsletter list to get other great tips, helpful insights, and some cool training videos on building and growing your business. So click the link here, enter your name and email address when you get there, and you'll be notified as I release new training. I'll see you next time.